What's happening, people? Thanks as always for passing by the channel, much appreciated. Hit that subscribe button if you guys are new. Don't forget as well, please, to like and share the videos. Big thank you to everyone who's been doing that so far. You guys are really the heroes of the day. Well, that was a great little fight between Errol and Sean. It ended a little strange, but I felt it was still a decent scrap. Like I said in my preview, I felt that Sean would win all the early rounds, then Terence would win the later rounds, making it an 8-4 or a 9-3 victory for him. Although, to be honest, this was more balanced than I thought. Crawford got that late stoppage after putting Sean down twice in the 10th. But going into that round, a lot of people had that fight very balanced, including me. I gave Sean rounds 1, 5 and 7. And you could argue round 9 as well. So it was a kind of like a 5-4 or, something like that going into that one. But eventually Crawford was the victor in this fight, and ended how he wanted, really. Crawford showing his ability against a legit world-class welterweight and winning fairly comfortably. Although the stoppage was a bit strange, like Sean got put down for the second time and his dad was there. It's almost like he'd agreed with him that if he got put down twice, then the fight would just end. But it kind of didn't look like too hard of a knockdown. It looked more like a push, really. But you could see the way that he was kind of banging the canvas and, showing his frustrations, that it was like after that second knockdown that the fight was going to be stopped. It's a weird one. See, that's when the kind of father-son boxing trainer relationship comes into question, because I reckon any normal fighter would understand that Sean is one tough dog. He will go to the trenches. He will just fight till the end. I didn't think his dad wanted to see him get hurt. So as soon as he saw that he'd been knocked down twice, he just pulls him out. Which is kind of a shame. I think it meant that the fight ended on a little bit of a sour note, because many people like myself knew that Sean could go to the 12th. I get that Crawford was kind of going through the gears and getting better as the fight went on, but I think had it gone to the 12th, that it would have ended far better than the way it did. But because it wasn't in many ways the best from Crawford, because his punches weren't as clean as we're used to seeing, really. That's how Sean brought it to him, because we know that Sean wanted to make it a tough, raw fight, and I love the way that Sean just had no fear when engaging with Terence. He just threw hands. He would just get in the clinch and just try and land hooks all night. He landed some stinging rights as well. But then Crawford was doing what he does best, making the necessary adjustment. He was switching to southpaw. I think he did that in the second round immediately. And he went through the gears, and the way he put down Sean with that left was just beautiful for the first knockdown. So overall, still a good little fight, but it ended on kind of a weird note. But still, though, moving on to the next one, it was like Sean has announced his retirement, hasn't he, from boxing? And it's been, which is a surprise, really, because he's only 34. I still think there's a lot more in him. I think that's his dad's influence, to be honest. I suppose he can look back, two-time welterweight champion, good little career, been in some big fights, like I said, Kell Brook, Keith Thurman, Errol, and now Terence Crawford. He's been in with some legit world champions, legit pound-for-pounders, and, he's got some great wins in there, Danny Garcia, Adrian Broner, great fights. It is a shame to see him retire, because I still think there's plenty left in him. Like I say, I think there's loads of fights out for him there as well at the welterweight division. But if he's putting his health first, you can't blame him for that, can you? So we as fans have to kind of just respect that decision, because at the end of the day, we're not the ones in there taking any of the punishment, whereas he is. The most important thing, I think, which comes out of this fight is one or two things. Number one, that Terence has shown that he can go up against a legit world-class welterweight and win. And two, the fact that that was his final fight under Bob Arum, because he announced immediately in the post-fight that he's breaking from Bob Arum. I think that, to be honest, is the most important ending of this fight. He's now a free agent, so he can literally, it's on his own terms. He can kind of he's a bit like a mercenary, really. He can kind of go where he wants, a bit like Dillian White, really. That is a big step for Crawford in his career. It's one that I think he should have made a while back, but it's better late than never, I suppose, because at the end of the day, Bob Arum was never going to get him the Errol Spence fight, or anything like that. Bob's just awkward. Bob's a dinosaur. He doesn't really belong in the boxing game anymore. He's kind of old school. So fingers crossed for me, the next fight that should be announced for Terence Crawford? Errol Spence. Simple as that. You know, Errol Spence was actually ringside for that fight as well, which was really strange. And he literally at the end, what did he do? He literally just shook his head and then just walked straight out, which was a bit disappointing because I would have loved to have seen him got in the ring, you know, had a little bit of a face off with him, start stirring the pot and building kind of the hype around that fight, because it's such a huge fight. You know, two legit pound for pounders, legit world champions, both undefeated. You know, it's really good. Now there is no excuse for that fight to happen, because I think the only thing which could maybe affect it is the pay-per-view numbers for this fight, Crawford Porter. But I think to be even saying that fight's still so big, there's no reason for it not to happen. You know, it was in my video top 5 fights that need to happen this year, and for me, that is the one that needs to be made next. So, you know, maybe I think it would only come down to what PBC say and what Errol Spence's team say, because I think Terence Crawford now he can just see it in the way he's speaking. He wants that fight more than anything. So that is definitely the next one to make, and the one that I'm going to be hoping for. So credit to both lads, credit to Sean. Enjoy your retirement, lad. You've earned it, and good luck to Terence Crawford. Get that Errol Spence fight. I think you can win that one and bring home all the belts. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next week for Teofimo Lopez. Keep fighting, keep punching, and peace.